Hi, this is Miriam here from Dongxi. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are uncovering China's most innovative trends. We are looking at the startups and hidden champions that you probably never have heard of, but they are unicorns listed in Nasdaq. If you're new here, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. And all the information that we're going to talk about in this video, you can find the information, links and details below in the description. If you have specific questions, if you want to learn more about specific topics, you can either post them in the comments or you can add us directly on LinkedIn to get in touch directly. In this video, we will look at one of the most hyped startups in 2019 coming from China, which is Luckin Coffee. We will introduce their value propositions, have a close look at their business model. We'll see the service experience, what is it like to actually order coffee with Luckin Coffee. And also we will have a closer look at the numbers. So now let's jump right into it. Luckin Coffee is actually a Chinese coffee brand and a service provider. And I would argue it's a data-driven company that is looking into smart retail with a longer plan behind it. It's not just about coffee. I think for them, coffee was just a really good entry into the market. But we will have a closer look at that later in the video. So Luckin Coffee was founded in 2017, which is not that long ago, obviously. But they only became operative in the market actually in 2018, which makes the operation time in the market even shorter and their success even more interesting. Luckin did their IPO in 2019, and in the same year, in Q3, they hit break even at a store level. And they have more than 40 million transacting customers. So coffee as a service is not that new. We all know it from Starbucks. But now we will have a look at the specific value propositions of Luckin Coffee to see what makes them so special. Let's start with the market and how the Luckin service actually works. Even though coffee has been produced in China for a very long time, coffee as a takeaway or a service experience is quite new in China. Actually, Starbucks just started in 1999, and the coffee culture has evolved from there over the time. And it became more and more popular to go for a coffee or to order coffee. And it's also an indicator for the culture that is turning or leaning more into a Western lifestyle. At the same time, if you go to Starbucks or any other coffee restaurant nowadays in China, it's also obviously very much a Chinese place, a place to hang out, to show face, to have a good time with your friends and just appreciate being together in this very exclusive or specific place. Coffee in China is quite expensive. It ranges from, let's say, 20 to 40 RMB per cup. And if you compare that to the price of a daily meal, which could be 40 RMB as well, or even less, or let's say to mobile internet for 1 month, which is also around 40 RMB, you see how comparably expensive coffee is for Chinese customers. Since Starbucks came in 1999, the market has grown constantly and you can find coffee now everywhere, be it in a supermarket, be it on the trains, of course, in universities and offices. Coffee is omnipresent now. As supermarkets squeeze in little coffee shops, people work in cafes, millennials hang out in shop systems, meaning cafes and shops. Because you will find innovative coffee products like this nitro pressed espresso, trendy cold brew coffee, and Italian drip coffee. Also in social media, coffee has become super popular. People really like to post about it, as you can see here in Xiaohongshu or Little Red Book. People like to post about the experience of having a coffee, the aesthetics of coffee. So these are all indicators that there's already a huge market and that people are really interested in having more options to consume their coffee. But not only that, also if you look at the numbers, it's quite impressive how big the market is and the potential that Luckin Coffee found in this market. As you see in this graph, Europeans, like for example Swedish people or people from Finland, they consume most cups of coffee per capita per year. In Japan, it is only a fifth of the consumption as people in Sweden or Finland. And in China, it's even less. It's only 20 cups per year. So if you compare China to those European countries, you already see that there is a huge potential. Now consider that the population of China is significantly bigger than the one of Sweden or Finland's population. Comparing 1.4 billion people, this is quite obvious that this is a huge market potential here. Now let's look at the growth rate of the global coffee market and compare it with the growth rate of the Chinese coffee market. And it becomes very apparent that Luckin found a really good opportunity to disrupt this market. The founders of Luckin Coffee have recognized this huge potential in the coffee market and have chosen to make this as their playground for new business models along smart, data-driven, new retail and new retail experiences. So from my point of view, they did a really, really smart choice to start with the coffee industry. And it's probably only going to be the start. The barriers to buy a coffee are actually quite low, and you can also see this from their naming. What they did is they say coffee as a new commodity is available to everyone, which is why they chose the name Luckin Coffee, which literally means you find the luck in a cup of coffee. So by doing so, they cultivate the experience of having a coffee to big mass and just invite everyone to try coffee. But how does Luckin Coffee actually utilize this market potential? And how does the customer journey look like? Let's have a first look into that. So this is how it works. You can download the app or open the app in any third provider app like Alipay or WeChat, for example. So you open the app, select the product you want to have, you order it and pay right away. Then the coffee you chose will be delivered to wherever you are or wherever you want to have it delivered to. You can track the delivery in the meanwhile, or you can just pick it up in the next store as we did in this example. Their value propositions are high quality coffee, good value for money, and a comprehensive infrastructure that makes it easy to get your coffee at any time and any place. Now let's go back and have a closer look at the customer journey. So this is the traditional process as you know it from Starbucks. So you will see a Starbucks or will go directly to a Starbucks that you know, and then you will go inside, probably queue a couple of minutes to then think about what you want to order, select the products, pay them at the counter, and watch the people make your coffee. Then you will maybe queue again, but probably not, to get your coffee. So I tested the experience myself and it took me around 17 minutes all in all, but that's obviously just my experience from this one-time test, and it can be different in any other experience and any other location and any other point in time. But now let's look at the Luckin experience. As you can see, they cut out many steps. These steps are still happening, but they don't occupy the attention of the customer. So what happens when I order at Luckin? First of all, I will go into the app, then I will look at the menu, I will choose the products that I would like to have, put them in the basket and check out. Then I wait for average 18 minutes. This is a number that is provided by Luckin Coffee. In the meanwhile, I can track my order or just wait. They will give me a call once they arrive. I could also order my coffee at home and then just go out and pick it up in the store. However, the order process will take me around 4 minutes, maybe 6, and then if I pick it up at the store, it will take me about 2 minutes because I just go in, find my number on the counter and pick up the coffee myself. So as you can see, this customer journey is not just much shorter and quicker and occupies less time of the customer. It's also much more efficient for me and for Luckin as a service provider as well. Now to the second value proposition, which is affordable coffee for everyone. Well, as we've just seen now, as they cut out so many steps in the service experience, this already cuts down the fixed cost as well and will make the coffee much more cheaper for the customer. Well, their retail concept is very lean. They can set up in the same system in different locations, which is why they opened up 4,500 shops since they opened. And if you compare that to Starbucks, who've been in the market since 1999, they by now have only 4,300 shops. However, that being said, the 4,500 shops might just be like a tiny place where you can pick up your coffee, a tiny station. And this is what makes them so flexible, because they can go into very low priced retails where they can set up their tiny coffee shop. And also, if you look at the people working there, usually you will find 1, max 2 people working there. And of course, you have the delivery. The second value proposition can also be looked at from the customer's perspective, which is the actual price of the coffee. Let's have a look at that. If you compare average prices of Starbucks or any other coffee brand in China and Luckin Coffee, you will see that the coffee itself is already cheaper in the first place. But as Chinese customers love to figure out discount schemes, you can optimize the price you actually pay per cup by planning your purchases. How does it work? Let me show you the options. The first coffee is always for free. Now, another way to get a free coffee would be, for example, to invite a friend, and he or she would also get a coffee for free, of course. Now, this is a great way to give face to someone, to share an economic benefit that you have and give it to them. This is very Chinese and a really good way to grow your user numbers in a very short amount of time. Now, another way would be if you would, for example, like I did here, buy just 2 coffees and then you get the third one for free. If you break this down, this will then be just 18 yuan per coffee. And 18 yuan is probably around 2.1 euros or 2.2 euros. So it's comparably cheap if you look at the initial price of 24 yuan. Luckin Coffee offers new promotions every other day to keep the Chinese customer entertained. This is how Luckin Coffee grew their user base exponentially in a very short amount of time. Now let's look at the whole trend from another perspective. Please keep in mind, we just ordered our 18 yuan coffee from premium quality within around 7 minutes from Luckin Coffee. Now we look at the Starbucks experience and how Starbucks has evolved and tackled the market in the last couple of years. In contrary to Luckin Coffee, Starbucks is positioning itself as a super premium experience. This is the roastery in Shanghai, a fancy place where people come for the experience, to see and be seen, as you can see with this girl who's just taking a picture of herself. They post and hang out with their business partners and just enjoy a very exclusive moment with them. Most products there start around an average price of 10 to 12 euros. Everything is manual work. You see a lot of stuff hanging around the restaurant to help you, which is actually the norm in China, where workforce was quite cheap for a very long time, and customers are really used to have a really good customer service as a standard. So as you can see, Starbucks is driving quite a different approach, but at the end of the day, I don't see them very much as competitors because the experience is just completely different and the value proposition towards the customer as well. However, that being said, if you look at Chief Strategy Officer Shakel from Luckin Coffee, he says that China is Starbucks' best and most profitable market now, but it took them 9 years of making huge loss. We will be faster than that. And this could be a promise both ways, of course, as Luckin Coffee is constantly in reinvesting their profits in new technology and always looking for new investment. They are quite aggressive in the market. And as you can see from this quote, Luckin really likes to compare themselves with Starbucks because, of course, they're interrupting their business model, but at the same time, it's just a really good way to get publicity. From my perspective, Luckin is not a coffee company. It really is a tech company, and it will revolutionize the way that we buy things and actually receive and use service experiences. There are several reasons for that. For example, if I look at the marketing, due to their very aggressive pricing model, they can run very efficient location-based marketing via WeChat. And this is what they've been doing actually the last 2 years. If you're close to a new Luckin shop or any Luckin shop, you will get an ad in WeChat Moments that invites you to come over. This is a really good use of location-based ads in WeChat and hasn't been utilized by any other player so far. Well, at least not in this quality. Another trend in marketing that they've been pushing a lot is KOC, so key opinion customer. By acquiring so many customers in such a short time and making them invite their friends to come to the platform and become a user by themselves, they build up their own followership, which they can easily retarget. Private traffic is traffic that is owned by the brand. Traffic that is produced this way can be retargeted and reused at any time and actually comes in for free. This decreases the customer acquisition cost a lot, which is a huge pain in the ass, to be honest, in Chinese marketing. Another trend in marketing that they're utilizing really, really well and that we will see in many other industries in the future is dynamic product placement. As you can see in this example, Luckin Coffee places their brand and their coffee in different scenes in social media and moving image. Within their dynamic product placement strategy, they push the right content when the customer is emotionally most available. By doing so, they achieve great conversion rates. Now, another thing that I haven't experienced yet, but I think it will definitely come or is maybe already in place, is dynamic pricing, because as Luckin knows their customers very well and they have the user data, they can price the product according to your vulnerability at this point in time. So let's say, for example, in the morning at a specific place where Luckin knows there is no other coffee service around and that I really need a coffee to get a kickstart, they will probably make the coffee more expensive for me. Also, if they see that my available income or my available budget will be higher than, for example, my neighbor, maybe they will offer some more coupons to my neighbor to get a cheaper choice for coffee than I can get. Now, the last thing that I want to mention is their new retail strategy. So in their most recent earnings call, Luckin announced that they will have smart unmanned retail units supporting their new retail strategy. Let's have a look at them. Luckin Pop Mini is a smart vending machine that offers a large variety of products and is supposed to be placed in public areas like office buildings, campuses, airports, and so on, making coffee or Luckin Coffee as a brand much more visible and, of course, in the long run, also cheaper. Now, the second product is the Luckin Coffee Express. This is basically a coffee machine where you can just order a coffee via your account. This again cuts down a lot on their fixed costs and also utilizes the data that they have from their customers, as these machines work with face recognition and get connected to the data, the customer data they already collected in the app. So what is so exciting about these new products? They offer a whole new service experience. They utilize big data, IoT, and new retail. In other words, this new seamless O2O experience uses face recognition to recommend the right product at the right point in time, at the right place to you based on real-time price evaluation, considering competitor activity and user behavior. So to sum up, I would say that Luckin is certainly a company to watch out for, because they really are the first ones to actually consequently apply dynamic product placement, dynamic pricing, and actual new retail experience. Now, the really interesting question is, what is Luckin planning for the future? First, are they going to stick to coffee, or is coffee just the first industry they are disrupting? Based on their data and based on their technology, they can just go into any other business and disrupt it as well. Second theory, Luckin has always, since their first earnings call, they have already communicated that they want to go global. So maybe you will find a Luckin coffee at your airport pretty soon. And the third and most obvious question for the future for me is, why is Starbucks not buying Luckin coffee? So this was our first deep dive into one of China's most hyped hidden champions in 2019, the unicorn Luckin. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you want to learn more about China's hidden champions, and of course also about Luckin Coffee, because we will dig deeper into their strategy in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned and see you soon. Bye bye!